It was a bright and special day at a well-known university. The graduation ceremony was full of life, music, and happy faces. Students in gowns were walking proudly across the stage. Cameras were flashing everywhere. Families were cheering loudly for their children. In the front row, one family sat together. The daughter was about to receive her award. She was the star of the day. Her parents looked proud, smiling and talking to relatives. Everyone was praising the daughter's success. But just a few seats away, their second child was sitting quietly. No one was talking to them. No one was even asking how they felt. They simply watched everything in silence, as if they did not belong there. The ceremony continued, and the daughter received her degree with honors. The crowd clapped loudly. The parents stood up, smiling with pride. For them, it felt like their dream had come true. After the ceremony ended, people gathered for photos and celebrations. Relatives came to congratulate the family. Everyone was happy, except one person. The second child stood slightly behind, waiting quietly, hoping for even a small word of appreciation. But what happened next changed everything. The father suddenly spoke in front of everyone. His voice was loud enough for nearby people to hear. He said, "Our daughter has made us proud today. She is our success. But our second child is useless. They have achieved nothing in life." For a moment, everything became silent. Some people laughed awkwardly. Some looked away. The mother did not stop him. She just stood there quietly. The second child did not say a word. Their face stayed calm, but something inside them broke deeply that day. And no one knew. This moment would become the start of a story that would change everything in the future. After that humiliating day, everything in the house slowly changed. It was not loud. It was not visible. But it was painful in a quiet way that stayed in the heart. When they returned home from the graduation ceremony, no one talked about what the father had said. The house was silent, like nothing had happened. The sister was busy celebrating her success, surrounded by gifts, calls, and attention. But the second child sat alone in their small room. They kept thinking about one sentence again and again. "Our second child is useless." It played in their mind like a broken record. Each time it repeated, it hurt more than before. The next morning, life went back to normal for everyone else. Breakfast was served. Conversations continued. But something had changed forever for them. No one asked how they felt. No one tried to explain. Even the mother avoided eye contact. The father acted like nothing important had happened. Days turned into weeks. The second child slowly became invisible inside their own home. Even when they tried to speak, their words were ignored or cut short. Small achievements were never noticed. Small efforts were never appreciated. But inside, something new started growing. At first, it was pain. Then it became anger. But slowly, it turned into silence, a dangerous kind of silence. They stopped arguing. They stopped asking for attention. They stopped expecting love. Instead, they started observing everything, learning everything, thinking more deeply than before. Late at night, when everyone was asleep, they would sit alone and stare at the ceiling. No tears anymore, just a strong, empty feeling that slowly began turning into determination. And in that silence, a single thought was born. If I am useless in their eyes, then I will become something they can never ignore. Time passed slowly, but the feeling inside the second child only became stronger. The house still treated them like they did not matter. Every day felt the same: silent meals, ignored words, and empty eyes from the people who were supposed to care. One night, everything felt heavier than usual. Everyone else. The second child was sitting on the edge of the bed. A small bag was already filled. They had no big bag, no shower, no laundry. The final choice changed everything. Early in the morning, before the sun rose, they slowly walked through the house one last time. The walls felt cold. The memories felt heavy, but there was no turning back. They stopped for a moment near the living room. That was the place where the father had said those words at the graduation ceremony. Useless. The word echoed again in their mind. But this time, there was no pain, only determination. They left the house quietly. No one noticed. No one stopped them. Outside, The world felt big and unknown. No money, no support, no clear plan. Only a small bag, a tired body, and a strong heart. The city was far away, and life there was not easy. At first, they struggled just to survive. Small jobs, long hours, sleepless nights. Sometimes no food for a full day, but they never returned, because going back would mean accepting the word useless. So they kept moving forward, even when everything felt impossible. And slowly, without anyone noticing, the broken child from that graduation day was beginning to disappear. Something new was being built in their place. Life in the new city was nothing like the past. It was harsh, cold, and completely lonely. The second child had no home, no support, and no one to call family. At first, survival was the only goal. They worked small jobs during the day, cleaning, carrying boxes, helping in shops, anything that could bring a little money. At night, they studied from old books, borrowed notes, and free online material whenever possible. Many nights were extremely difficult. Hunger was normal. Sleep was broken. Some days, they felt like giving up completely. There were moments when they sat alone in a dark room and asked themselves, "Why am I doing this?" And every time, the same memory answered back, "Useless." That single word became their fuel. It did not break them anymore. It pushed them forward. Slowly, something started changing inside them. Not suddenly, but step by step, they became more focused, more disciplined, more quiet. They stopped wasting time on sadness. They started building skills, learning faster, thinking smarter. While others rested, they worked. While others enjoyed life, they struggled. Years passed like this. No one from their family called. No one checked on them. It was as if they had been erased completely. But in that silence, they were building something powerful. People around them started noticing changes. The once invisible person was now becoming sharp, intelligent, and determined. Opportunities started appearing slowly. Small success at first, then bigger change. Every failure taught them something. Every rejection made them stronger. And deep inside, one belief became unshaken. The person they once called useless was no longer the same. They were becoming someone the world would eventually recognize, even if their own family refused to see it. 7 long years passed. The world had changed to the second child, and so had they. The once ignored and broken person was no longer invisible. They had built a completely new life from nothing. Step by step, failure by failure, they had reached a point no one in their family could have imagined. Now they were known in their field, respected, trusted. People listened when they spoke. Their name carried value wherever it was mentioned. But behind their success was a story no one knew. Long nights, painful struggles, and years of silence. They never once returned home during all these years. Not even a phone call. The family, on the other hand, believed they had simply disappeared and failed in life. They never cared to check. Life at home also moved forward. The sister continued her success. The parents proudly spoke about her everywhere, but they never mentioned the second child anymore. It was as if that part of their life had been erased. But one day, something unexpected happened. A large unexpected gift of life. He said that that was someone would achieve something extraordinary. The name is even the family was they had no idea. The father looked at me. The mother said, the name was called New. But they could not believe it. The name of the child was and now, after 7 years of silence, that same child was born in the day of the event finally all was now. Like something big was about to happen. The family entered slowly. The father looked confident first. The mother stayed quiet, and the sister was curious but unsure why they were invited. They were guided to the front row seats. On the stage, everything was set. A large screen behind a podium showed highlights of success, achievements, and growth. The crowd was waiting for the main speaker. Then the lights dimmed. A voice came from the speakers. Today's guest changed everything from nothing to something impossible. The audience clapped. Then the host announced, "And now, please welcome our special guest." A moment of silence followed. Footsteps were heard. Slowly, the second child walked onto stage. But this was not the same person who left 7 years ago. The crowd stood up in applause. Cameras flashed everywhere. People whispered in shock and admiration. The family in the front row froze. The father's face went pale. The mother's hands started shaking. The sister could not believe her eyes. On stage, the second child stood calm, confident, and strong. No fear, no hesitation, just silence and power. They looked straight at the audience, and then at their family. A long pause followed. Then they spoke softly. 7 years ago, I was called useless. The hall became completely silent. Every word now carried weight. Every eye was focused. The truth was about to be revealed, not with anger, not with shouting, but with success. And in that moment, the same people who once rejected them realized one thing. They had not lost a child. They had underestimated a future they could never imagine.